Hello, and welcome to the We Recommend Podcast, a movie podcast where every week we recommend a movie for you to watch and then come back here and listen to us discuss. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Natalie.
We have no food, we have no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off. This week we recommend Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, that's like the little break,
For the intro.
So this week, Jason couldn't join us, the co-host. He has COVID in the household, so he was not allowed to come over to my house. And I didn't know how really to set up a Zoom. I don't have a webcam on my thing, so it felt weird, and we'd have to figure out the microphone situation. So I have my lovely wife joining me today, Natalie.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great.
We're going to pretend we haven't just spent the whole day together.
Right.
So, Dumb and Dumber is our movie. It's made in
Yes.
1994, starring Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
Yes.
When was the first time you watched this movie?
I don't know the first time I watched it. It feels like a movie that I have just always known.
Yeah?
I can't pinpoint the first time.
I mean, it's definitely a cable movie, right? I mean, it was always on TBS,
Yeah.
Comedy Central,
Yeah.
TNT. Maybe not TNT, because that's where they have the drama.
That's where they have the
That's all the
drama.
dramas there.
Yes.
But like Stars, HBO, I mean, it's always on everything. It's on Max now until the end of this month. So watch it. Hurry. Get it. Go to it.
Don't know why you haven't watched it yet. It's a great movie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody's seen it.
Yeah.
I think this is probably going to be a divisive movie because I could see people being like, this is so dumb, right? Because at work, talking about our last podcast's Best in Show, there's these people there. I was explaining, like, oh, it's like you like animals, you probably like this movie. And it's like, it's completely different from, like, Best in Show is so different from this movie, right?
Yeah.
As in the subtlety of the humor,
Yes.
the more low key,
Yes.
and it's not just like throwing everything in your face.
Right.
It is, but it's just more subtle. And then when I tell people, it's like, oh, it's Best in Show, it's completely different. It's not like a movie like Dumb and Dumber. And then they'd say, oh yeah, that movie's so stupid and dumb. And I'm like, that's our
What?
next episode. So here
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's an immature movie, but
Yeah, I guess you have to have a certain type of, I can't think of the word.
a certain type of mentality towards it.
Yeah, sense of humor. That's it.
Yeah.
Some people don't like just kind of slapstick,
Immature comedy.
immature
Yeah.
bathroom humor kind of
Amount
movies.
of Jeff Daniels' eyes crossing in this movie is so, I don't remember that much. And it's bad.
No.
He's doing it so much in the movie where it's just, I was miming doing it. But those were like some of the parts where I was like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
Let's keep it moving here.
Yeah.
It's funny. We're standing too much on this guy's cross-eyed face here.
But he was also opposite Jim Carrey, who is, rubber face, who makes all sorts of faces. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess comes off as a little more subtle to me
Yeah.
because he doesn't have all of the range in his face quite like Jim Carrey does.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's a professional at it,
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's the dude. He's got that dog in him.
He's got that dog in him.
All right, so Dumb and Dumber, 1994. This is Peter and Bobby Farley's first movie. It's their debut film. Pretty wild, huh?
Yeah. What else do they do?
Let me get my phone. I'm gonna have to look that one up because I cannot remember off the top of my head. Well, I know they did Green Book, the Best Picture winner, which is pretty wild.
Did they do There's Something About Mary?
Yeah, they did the Something About Mary.
Okay,
The
yay.
Something About Mary. They did Shallow Hal.
Okay.
They did Me, Myself, and Irene, Hall Pass, Kingpin.
All right.
Dang, we should have done Kingpin instead. They did the remake of Heartbreak Kid, which is terrible. Could not get through that one because it just made me feel bad. And probably so Stuck on You. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
Matt Damon and what's his name? Greg Kinnear.
Yes.
I love that movie. That was a movie I watched on Comedy Central all the time.
I've never actually seen that one.
Have you not?
No.
Oh my God, the things we gotta watch. But it was only directed by Peter Farley, co-written by the brothers though. So, I mean, you know this. Jim Carrey this was the year for him.
Yes.
This was the year that made him the biggest star in the world,
Yeah.
right? I mean, at this point.
Yeah.
Because in the same year of Dumb and Dumber, he had The Mask and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. But the Farleys actually didn't know who he was.
Right.
They never saw him at that point. And then after they watched Ace Ventura, they realized that he was perfect for the film.
Yeah.
And I want you to imagine this. Close your eyes right now. All right. You're starting up the movie. A limo pulls up. You see the girl standing out, like waiting for the bus. Roll down the window. And instead of Jim Carrey, it's Gary Oldman.
Nope.
And then after that scene, we cut to the Shaggy Dog car or van. And you see Nicolas Cage in a dog outfit.
No.
Those were the two original people that they wanted for the role.
But can I just say, I could potentially see Nick Cage
Nick Cage would have crushed.
in a movie like this. Just
I feel like he'd been better as Lloyd.
Lloyd.
Though.
Yeah, I
don't see him as Harry.
peg him as a Harry.
Yeah, he's
guy.
got to be the leader. Gary Oldman, I don't know, right?
No, I mean,
he could do it. I mean,
he could do it. I think it would just be a different movie.
Like you got to think of The Fifth Element, one of your favorites, and I don't know if you ever saw Lost in Space with Matt LeBlanc in it.
Yes.
I mean, he goes for it. So
he does.
He definitely could have done it.
It just would have been. It just I don't know. I just can't imagine it.
Yeah.
With
right.
anybody else.
Yeah. There were other names like Steve Martin, Martin Short, Chris Elliott, and Rob Lowe. I feel like Rob Lowe was a very popular guy for comedies in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
I mean, after Tommy
but
Boy.
He's too good looking.
He should have been Nick, right?
To have been in this movie, yeah.
The character that's scamming him.
Yeah. He could have been him for sure.
I wonder if they offered him that role and was just like, he's like, dude, I can't keep playing these guys that are just trying to ruin the funny guys stuff all the time.
Yeah, maybe.
That's at least how I would have looked at it if I was him. So he wasn't a star when he signed on for Dumb and Dumber.
He should have been though, because In Living Color.
Oh yeah, that's something I don't really know anything about. That's all you.
That's where I know him from. Like that's my earliest memory of Jim Carrey. And maybe that's why I don't remember the first time I ever watched Dumb and Dumber, because to me he was already a familiar face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, was he considered the funniest on that show?
No, but
who else was on there? Was it the Wayans brothers?
Yeah, Damon Wayans, mostly them. I can't remember everybody's names, but they're still.
Was that the one Jamie Foxx was on?
Yes, Jamie Foxx, duh.
Man.
He was like one of the only white guys on there, though, and he was just so wild and could do anything. So
the Jamie Foxx character that he always did, what was it? The girl that was like
Wanda?
Yeah. Controversial, seeing it as an adult for the first time. Not that funny. Wait, wow, she's getting out a briefcase. She's opening it. She's taking out a pen, some papers.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
She's sliding it over to me. I see the word divorce, and it turns out we're divorced, so okay. Well, so good. That was a bit, by the way. It was a good bit, right? Was that a good bit?
Okay, that was okay. It was all right. But seeing it as an adult, not that funny.
Yeah. Oh, so you didn't think it was that funny either? Like now, like you're rewatching it?
No, your bit. It wasn't that funny.
Oh, dang. Okay, we're just going to shut this off right now. So Jim Carrey, So he signed on to do this movie, wasn't a star. Ace Ventura happened, and then he got a $7 million raise. Not really a $7 million raise, but he got up to $7 million now.
Yeah, but wasn't his contract like only $700,000
Something
at the
like that,
start,
yeah.
and then it just
Yeah. And he was like, I want more.
yeah.
And so the studio didn't want Jeff Daniels
Right.
for the role of Harry. So after Jim Carrey signed on to be Lloyd, Cage was still in line to play Harry. But they said, get out of here, dude, after he wanted a $2 million raise. I'm assuming once Jim Carrey got on,
Yeah.
he got a $7 million. Nicolas Cage is like, okay, well, give me $2 million or I'm going to go win an Oscar.
Right.
And that was probably the smart thing for him, right?
Probably,
Yeah.
yes.
And so the studio didn't want Jeff Daniels. And I don't even think that the Farleys were 100% on board. And so they lowballed him and said, you'll get $50,000 for playing Harry. Even the agent was like, no, you don't do this.
Yeah.
Don't do this. This is going to ruin your career. But he did it anyways because he wanted to do it. Because, I don't know, it's funny because I think of Jeff Daniels as a more hilarious actor, like more than a serious actor.
Yeah, I guess that
I can't even think what he's been in at the moment.
at that time, I don't think he had really done very much comedy, but I can't say that I really remember a whole lot that he's been in and before Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Speed. I don't even remember him in Speed, really. And 101 Dalmatians. Arachnophobia. The
Yes.
movie's funny and
Yes.
good. Oh, The Squid and the Whale.
Yeah.
Do you remember watching
yeah.
that? The Noah Baumbach movie? Let's see. He's in The Martian. Something Wild. That's probably my favorite of his, personally. He's in Pleasantville? Looper? Man, I don't remember him in all these. Wow, it's weird. Like, I always remember thinking that he was in all the movies that I've ever seen. And then now I'm looking at it, and I guess it's mainly Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I hear his
Something
name,
Wild.
I immediately go to Dumb and Dumber,
He's
which is weird because I feel like it's the most comedic performance he's ever had.
Yeah.
So it's weird that that I just go there when he's had so many other
Yeah.
things. But
He seems like to just be Mr. Businessman in a suit in all his
Yeah.
other movies, right?
yeah,
It's kind of weird. Good thing he did this movie because, man, yeah.
it definitely didn't sink his career.
He wouldn't have been nearly as much of a part of my life.
Right.
Except I
And
did.
he's so good in it.
Yeah.
Like,
I did watch Arachnophobia a lot growing up, so I
yeah.
don't know why. Spiders were kind of cool as a kid. I mean, in movies, I mean, if it touches me, I mean, like, don't,
Don't.
right? But so Jim Carrey plays Lloyd Christmas, and Lauren Holly plays Mary Swanson.
Mhm.
They first met when they auditioned for Ace Ventura. She didn't get the role, though, of course. But then they reconnected this and began a relationship, and they married in 96.
Yeah, and they were only married for 1 year.
Yep, divorced in 1997.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, if you think about it, their name, Lloyd Christmas and Mary Swanson,
Mm-hmm.
if they got married and she took his last
Merry
name,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. How good would that have been?
I never thought of that. That's hilarious.
I just put it together when I just saw their two names side by side in my notes. I was like, they would have been called Merry Christmas. That
That's
would have been
awesome.
great. And then, well, I know you know this, the chipped tooth
Mm-hmm.
that Jim Carrey has. Well, in real life, he has a chipped tooth, but he puts a cap on it.
Yep.
And in the movie, he just took the cap off, and that's how he has a chipped tooth.
Yep.
So the hotel that they stay in Aspen, Colorado, is actually the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. And Jim Carrey stayed in was it 203? What is it? 230?
237?
237?
Because isn't it supposed to be like the Shining Hotel?
Yeah.
Modeled out after that or something?
Yeah. And then so he stayed the night there, and he said he would never stay in that room again. So
That's wild.
Something happened. It's
He
funny.
needs to tell us what happened.
Well, I do wonder if he's just lying for the story.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Because if you go there, I mean, there's people that try to debunk, ghost stuff on YouTube all the time. And there's a few videos you can watch of people who's like, oh, yeah, I'm staying in this room. And they stay in there and they're like, there's
Yeah,
nothing
but
ever happens.
some people just have the shine to them.
That's true. You gotta have that
and
shine.
you won't notice things if you don't have the shine.
That's true. I mean, we got the shine and we just heard a giant rumble outside, and I hope that a bomb wasn't dropped or my car didn't explode. I just replaced the battery. Let's hope not.
It was probably an earthquake.
Yeah, that's true. So the Farley were new filmmakers. Carrie's the superstar, and it was his third big comedy of the year. I've already said all this. It opened as number one at the box office, making almost 250 million worldwide on a budget of 17 million.
Nice.
That's 7 million to pay off Carrie.
Not bad.
And at the end of Dumb and Dumber, Harry and Lloyd, they turned down the opportunity to hang out with the girls in the bus. But they had two versions. They had one where they got on the bus, and one where they didn't. But Carrie said, like, he didn't want to do it if they weren't gonna release the ending where they didn't get on.
Yeah.
And so that's the
I mean, that
ending
makes
they
more
chose.
sense to the story
Yeah,
because they're both eggheads.
they're both ding dongs. So this movie has a prequel and a sequel. The prequel is probably the best prequel that's ever been made for a movie,
I disagree.
and I haven't seen the sequel.
Me neither.
This
I feel like it didn't need either of those things. It's perfectly fine as a standalone movie.
It definitely didn't. Man, I love that prequel as a kid. Rewatching it with you, I'm so sorry I made you do that.
I didn't watch it, so it's fine.
There are funny parts. There's still, like, Bob Saget's so good in that. Just him yelling.
I forgot he's even in it.
There's shit everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's shit. Because he gets it all in the bathroom. It's hilarious. You laughed at it.
Did I don't remember this at all, but did Harry have another bad bathroom experience?
Well, he had so he goes to see the girl
Mhm.
that he's like tutoring with,
Mhm.
or that she's trying to get a story from, but he puts chocolate in his back pocket because he was going to give it to her as a gift, but he sits on the radiator and it melts, and so whenever he goes in to the bathroom, he puts his hand in his pocket and he's like, oh no, and then he like licks it and he realizes it's chocolate, but he ends up wiping it on everything, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse, and then Bob Saget walks in,
Mhm.
and at the end of the film, he's covered in mud because the two girls that they asked him if they wanted to come with them, and they said no. And then they just like spray a bunch of mud on him with their car. And then Harry gets hit by Bob Saget's character in the movie. And so it looks like he still has poop all over him and it's all over the car.
Mhm.
Is everybody laughing at home? Because it's a good joke.
But it's just a reiteration of what's already happened
Oh,
in
yeah.
this movie.
Well, that's the problem with all like comedy sequels is like,
That's true, I guess.
how do we do the same thing but different?
Yeah.
And it usually doesn't work. It's like the problem with Anchorman too.
Yeah.
It's like once I rewatched that last year, I was like, because I watched Anchorman 1 and then immediately watched Anchorman 2, and I was like, oh, doesn't quite work. And it's just too long.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and 40, hour and 50, or nearly 2 hours. And it's like, hey, this should be
That's
this should be
that's too
80 to
much.
90 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you have anything? You know what? Since the audience isn't going to know you as well, why don't you give us like 3 of your favorite movies so we can kind of get a grasp of like who you are as a movie person?
3 of my favorite movies. Okay. Almost Famous.
Number 1 with the bullet. Cool.
Yes. Gets really hard after that because I love a lot of movies. I guess to pluck from horror, Scream.
Yeah.
And
One of the best movies ever made.
I don't know, Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, that's one you talk about all the time. So you got your
I'm very much a girl.
you got your rocker one, you got your music one, then you got your horror movie,
Mhm.
and then you got your girl one.
Yeah.
But Dirty Dancing rules. I mean, like if you have a problem with that, then just switch it off. But actually, not really. Let it keep playing.
Yeah.
Okay. So now everybody knows you. They don't even know my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I don't.
You haven't even told everybody your favorite movies.
I don't even know what my favorite movies are.
It's
anymore.
hard. It's a hard question to answer.
It's like I thought I knew
It
it.
depends on what day of the week it is and what mood I'm in.
I mean, mine are just so annoyingly boy movies, right? I mean, Drive, Heat. I mean, Drive's inspired essentially by Thief, who is the director of Heat, and it's just like, roll your eyes, you know? Well, I guess one of my favorite comedies is The Other Guys.
Yeah.
I don't know why I think it's the funniest movie ever, but
Because it is.
it is one of the funniest movies ever. Then Step Brothers, This Is the End. I mean, those are some of the funniest. If we had to go older movie comedies, The Jerk, love that. Tommy Boy, you know.
Classics.
I'm trying to think of what Rocky's one of my favorite movies. Obviously, it would be in the top 5. Scott Pilgrim, The Thing. So I guess we kind of talked about some of them.
Yeah. All movies you've covered.
Such boy movies, though.
Not
I
necessarily.
mean, I guess I watch a lot of movies, but those are the ones that I mean, honestly, those are movies, except for Heat. Heat's kind of a newer favorite of mine.
Yeah.
But the other ones were all movies that were still my favorites from like 2011.
Yeah.
I just haven't updated.
That's okay.
All right, we should probably get into the plot, right?
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes.
So, as I was saying earlier, it opens up with like this girl standing out waiting for a bus, I guess. And you see a limo come up and you see goofy old Jim Carrey's head pop out. And he's like, what was he
With
asking
his bowl
for?
cut.
Yeah, exactly. And he's asking for something. I can't remember. And she starts talking and he's like, oh, that's a lovely accent. Where are you from? New Jersey? Then she's like, what'd she say? Austria? And he's like, oh, g'day, mate. How about another shrimp on the barbie? She didn't like it.
She was like, this guy is dumb.
Yeah. So, and it's supposed to look like his limo, but really he is the limo driver.
Yep.
How does he even get his license?
I don't know.
Can you imagine?
I was thinking about this earlier. It blows my mind that these two characters could even go about getting an apartment or a car or driving or have a job just because it just seems like they're just not capable of a single smart thought.
I mean, their credit score has to be under 100, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they leave this apartment without any sort of notice.
Yeah, they just go.
So they're gonna.
And they don't have anything really to pack up. They leave their worms behind. I mean,
that's true. Those worms are gonna
it's kind
die.
of cruel.
Maybe they just threw them out the window and it's like, there you go, go dig, you worm. And then we meet Harry, played by Jeff Daniels. We see him coming out of a convenience store in his shaggy dog or sheepdog van.
Shaggin' wagon.
Shaggin' wagon, yeah. And he's got all this food with him, and we slowly realize that he's just giving these dogs, food from the store. Big no-no, right?
Big no-no.
She's a vet tech, guys. She knows. Don't feed your dog.
Don't feed them hot dogs.
Man, we probably shouldn't even feed ourselves
Don't feed them anything with au jus.
Yeah. And so he gets a call saying that he's late for this event. He's like, oh, I just didn't want him to show these dogs on an empty stomach. So he starts driving crazy. You see the dogs flying around. There's ketchup and mustard. I don't know where he got the ketchup and mustard, but that's fine. And so we cut to Lloyd. He's picking up Mary. And he immediately has the hots for her. And he does the classic spray, the mouthwash, or not mouthwash. What is it?
Breath spray? Breath mint spray?
Breath cleaner? Breath freshener?
Yeah.
But he sprays it the wrong way, which is always hilarious.
Yep. Just doesn't go anywhere near his mouth.
And just one of the funniest lines ever. So, flying somewhere? I saw your luggage and I saw your airline ticket and I put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. Yeah. What does he say? So why are you heading to the airport?
Yeah.
Flying somewhere?
Flying somewhere? Yeah. Ugh, it's so good. But he's, talking about, it's like, oh, I don't really want to be a limo driver. This is not my real job. And he tells up that Lloyd and Harry want to open up a pet store called
I've Got Worms.
I mean, what, you think I think maybe a month or 2 and then they're out of business?
If that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if they have other pets and not just worms, but it's weird to name your pet store after a worm.
I Got Worms. I think, like, if they actually open it, it'd be like worms, ants, anything that you can make a farm out of in a glass thing, which is just a weird concept in general for me.
Yeah.
Ant farms, worm farms. Like, what are we doing here? We just want to see things go.
I mean,
actually, can I be honest? The more I'm thinking about it, the more it'd be kind of cool to have one.
I guess it's kind of like people who have plants, like you just want to watch them grow and
Well, and I guess
change
because you can
and
kind of see what they do underneath
yeah,
the dirt,
watch
which
them
would be
work.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I just changed my mind. Kind of. That's kind of a cool idea.
Don't you dare bring home a worm or ant farm.
That's true.
It's not going to happen. I'm
our
sorry.
pets would just tip it over and there'd be ants and worms everywhere.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, he's not watching the road as he's driving. Harry, and there's like a giant explosion, and there's like a really bad like VFX shot in it where the entire like, movie looks completely different for the explosion behind the car in the limo.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Harry returns the dogs, but they're all completely messed up, and he gets fired just like. Well, I guess Harry's not fired yet. Lloyd drops off Mary. There's this really awkward thing. He asks for a hug. It's this really long hug. And so Mary's walking through. She drops her briefcase. We see two people following her. It's like these two thugs, a guy and a girl.
Yeah.
And she drops her briefcase. Lloyd, who is watching Mary from outside of the airport, wrecks, and just in time because Mary sets down the briefcase and Lloyd realizes it and runs to pick it up. And so he's trying to give it back to her on the plane. He runs through the little terminal. The guy at the terminal is trying to say, hey, don't go out there. And he runs out and just falls.
Splats right onto the pavement.
It's a very funny joke. Always good.
But you missed the whole part where he's in the limo. He's watching her walk through the airport and he like hits the other car and the airbag deploys.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like,
he's trying to beat on it.
He's trying to play it
He's, like,
off and
biting
be
it.
so cool.
Oh, yeah.
But then somehow he manages to get out of the car, run all the way into the airport, and the bag is still just sitting there, even though they were like three
Right behind him.
paces behind her.
Very slow. Well, he probably had acid reflux.
And then why did she get on the plane?
Well, she's going back to where she lives, Aspen.
But why was she even in Rhode Island?
Well, I guess that's where they said to drop it off.
It's weird.
It doesn't
make any sense. You can't follow the movie based on plot alone, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, who thought like the plot of Dumb and Dumber wouldn't make sense, right?
I know.
Like it's absolutely ridiculous. This is why I didn't win any Oscars or get nominated.
That's true. That's exactly why.
That's exactly why. That's the only reason. So they both arrive home. They're tailed by the two thugs. They come inside. It's like, he's talking about, it's like, Lloyd's like, I lost my job. Harry's like, I lost my job too. And then Lloyd, man, you're one pathetic loser.
Yeah.
How could you lose your job? And what Harry has a saying, it's like,
it gets worse.
I spent my life savings turning my car into a dog.
Yeah. Chicks love it. It's a shaggin' wagon.
Yeah, exactly. So Lloyd is explaining about the briefcase and he doesn't know what's in it. And he's like, oh, I didn't want to like root through a briefcase. Plus there's a lock on it.
Right.
He obviously tried. We see the two thugs are knocking on the door. We see one of them has a gun. Harry and Lloyd are dumb and think it's the gas men because they didn't pay the bill. So they bail.
Yep.
The two thugs break in. They say that they're going to kill the bird to send a message.
Yeah.
What was the bird's name?
Petey.
Petey.
Because
Petey the parakeet.
They think that, don't the bad guys, don't they think that Harry and Lloyd are like some criminal masterminds?
Yeah, eventually like everybody thinks they're like these huge geniuses.
Yeah.
Like, and then later they think they're the millionaires and things like that. Yeah.
Right.
So they kill the bird. Harry and Lloyd, they come home. They spent all day looking for jobs and they couldn't find a single one unless you want to work 40 hours a week.
I know, right?
Kill us. So they decide that they're going to spend the last remaining money to go get some beer. Harry's like, only get the essentials.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to Lloyd walking down the street with a giant cowboy hat, a bunch of like, what's the little fans, like windmill fans that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
whatever
just
that is.
Fans,
windmill fans.
He's got beads around his neck.
Yeah, it's like he went to Mardi Gras.
What has he got, 24 packs of beer or something?
They're going to get their drink on.
Yeah.
And no food. And so he's trying to get himself a nudie mat next. And man, this part's so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he's dumb.
But was there really a time in life where they just had like magazine stands or I guess newspaper stands, but they were nudie magazines.
Nudie mags, yeah. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Have you? Have you ever seen it
No, I mean I remember them
in the
the
stores?
newspaper things where you
Oh.
put the money in and it
Yeah.
opens and you take, the one. But is this like a real thing?
No.
I need to know. Is this a real thing or is this a movie thing?
That's definitely probably like something they put in. Like, how funny would it be if
Especially
we could
in,
buy
like,
pornos right there?
Providence, Rhode Island, of all places.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Apparently, I think that's where Peter and Bobby Farley came from. That's why they
Okay.
said it in Rhode Island.
Maybe it is true. Maybe it is something that particular area had. I don't know.
That's true.
Very
That's probably where
interesting.
they bought them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But he ends up getting his wallet stuck into the vending machine thing because he grabs the magazine and drops his wallet while grabbing the magazine like an idiot. And it's very frustrating to watch. It made me upset. So a little old lady walks up or
No.
wheels up
Wheels
in a
up.
cart. He asks the old lady to watch his stuff, but insults her. So she steals his stuff because he says, I guess they're right. I guess they're right. Senior citizens, even though they are slow and dangerous behind the wheel, still serve a purpose.
Yes. And he just thought he could walk away and she would just watch his stuff.
Yeah. And who's this old lady? She's so familiar. Right? She's in so many movies.
Yeah. Isn't she like in, is she Happy Gilmore? Is she in Happy Gilmore?
No. That's not her. That's not her.
She's not his grandma?
I don't think so. Her name's Connor Sarah.
I don't know. She's definitely she's been in a lot of movies I feel like I've seen.
Oh, she's in Pineapple Express. She's
Bubby.
She's Bubby, yeah.
Okay, that's what I was
We
thinking.
literally just watched it. That's why she's so right there on my mind. I'm trying to think. She's in some episodes of Boy Meets World. She's in a Seinfeld episode. Man, this lady's been playing old lady
Since obviously the 90s.
since like the 80s. Man.
Is she still alive?
I don't know, actually. She's in Matlock. She's in all that. Wow. She's just in a bunch. She's like 152 credits. Well, her last movie was 2014, so I'm assuming she's probably dead.
Okay, that's sad.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Rip. So he comes home. Harry's asking where's the booze, and he says, I got robbed by a sweet old lady in a motorized cart.
And I didn't even see it coming.
And then Harry's like, it gets worse. My parakeet Pete, he's dead. Guess what's happened? His head fell off. He was pretty old.
He was getting kind of old. Like, no.
And this is where we get the line, we have no food, we have no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off.
So good.
So hilarious. And Lloyd says they should go to Aspen so he can return the briefcase.
Yeah.
Harry doesn't like the idea.
No, he doesn't.
But then we get this super emotional scene.
I know.
He's so good in it.
He is. Like, I'm like,
crushes
why
it.
am I starting to tear up in the middle of this stupid movie that I
It
love
makes
so
sense.
much?
Like him and Jeff Daniels are so good at this part. And it just goes to show you why Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's like he had it. He could have
Yeah.
done it.
He definitely did.
Which we're gonna have to get.
And
you
I guess
watching that movie.
I feel like it also shows a little bit of a different side of their friendship.
Yeah, that they
like,
love each other.
Why are these two weirdos together? They clearly annoy each other all the time, but
Yeah.
you can tell that they've got a deeper connection.
Yeah. They just. But I mean, there is the part where they start hugging after a long hug and cry, and then Harry's like, "Okay, that's enough."
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're heading to Aspen, and then it's like I actually do have a complaint about this movie. So for the road trip area, there's like a lot of shots where they're just driving and there's
Mhm.
nothing happening.
Yeah.
And this is over an hour and 40-minute movie. And I feel like if they cut some of that, we could have cut 5 minutes out of it and it'd been perfect. But there's a point where it's like 2 minutes and you're just like, can you do something? It's like, why are we just watching this car drive around? It's like, that's very much a 90s thing because they do that. They do that
I
in
guess so.
Tommy Boy. I guess it's just a road trip movie thing, but
Yeah, cross country.
it's like, it's not like they had a good song playing at the moment, because I think it was just whatever music they had going.
Yeah.
They should have obviously put slow riding there, right? Slow ride. I'm just thinking of Dazed and Confused now.
Yeah.
So We see that Lloyd is eating something and Harry's has an issue. It's like, hey, like we don't need to be spending our money on just anything. And then Lloyd said he raised $25 by selling his bird to a blind kid.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the blind kid and he's like, Polly, want a cracker?
Pretty bird.
Pretty bird.
Pretty bird.
Pretty bird. Polly, want a cracker?
It's awful. It's so
hilarious.
awful.
It's so funny though. And then the thugs see a note left for the gas man. And they are thinking that he knows that the big guy has acid reflux and gas.
Right.
So they think like, man, they're really good.
They're so good. They're criminal masterminds.
They're criminal masterminds. And then the criminal masterminds, they stop at a diner and they're just kind of having a conversation. But then Harry knocks over the salt. So Lloyd says that you have to throw the salt over your shoulder.
Yeah, because it's bad luck.
No, wait, does Lloyd throw it? No, Harry throws the salt over
Harry
his
throws it.
Yeah, Harry throws the salt over his shoulder. And it hits Seabass. And then Seabass gets up and he goes to talk to him and they're getting real scared. And, well, Lloyd's being a douche like he always is and is hiding in the corners, pointing at him, saying that he did it.
Yeah, he threw it.
And then his friends from the back, kick his ass, Seabass.
Yeah.
That's so funny, though. But all he does is spit on his burger. And then Lloyd tricks Seabass into paying for their meal.
Yeah.
Which is a very smart thing that they did. So
they are criminal masterminds.
They sometimes, as long as it happens in TV or a movie, they can do that at least.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I just love the line, kick his ass, Seabass.
Yeah.
It's very funny. And then Lloyd has to pee. But before that, they're on their way down the road. And
it's like, what?
Well, because this is... Well,
now they're back in the car.
They're back in the car.
And now Lloyd has to pee.
Well, there's a part where Harry's like, whoa, where'd you learn that? It's like, oh, I watched it in a movie. It's like, oh, yeah, they got away free. It's like, no, about a half mile down the road, they caught up with him and beat him up.
Yeah.
But then the subject gets changed and Lloyd has to pee. So he starts peeing into empty beer bottles and they get pulled over by the cop. The guy that's been in like Sorority Boys and...
There's Something About Mary.
Something About Mary, yeah. And so... They're trying to tell the cop that there's pee in it, but he isn't listening.
Yes, he thinks they've been drinking alcohol because they've peed into beer bottles.
Yeah, exactly. And the cop drinks it and just lets him go. I feel like he would have probably just shot him, but, you know.
Different time.
Different time. Well, I feel like it was even worse back then.
I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking.
We learned that the briefcase was full of money for a ransom for her boyfriend, because we're cutting back to Aspen and you have like husband. Yes.
Mary's husband.
Mary's husband. Because they're all talking about like the situation and how she needs to go out and meet people or whatever and just
act normal,
socialize.
Act like your husband hasn't been taken for ransom.
And we meet Nick, who is very nonchalant kind of about it and is just like, you know, obviously acting strange. And later we'll figure out he orchestrated the whole kidnapping.
Yeah.
Lloyd is daydreaming being with Mary. We see him returning the briefcase. He's telling jokes to her friends. He farts into a lighter.
Mm-hmm.
He goes on a date and has a fight with a waiter and cook. And it's like, it's nearly over 5 minutes of a fight scene.
Yeah, just wild.
Yeah. Just literally 5 minutes of it. And then he pulls the cook's heart out.
Yeah.
And then the two have a really long, gross kiss. And Mary takes off her clothes and her boobs are replaced with headlights.
Yeah.
He wakes up and is almost hit by a semi-truck.
Yes, because he was sleeping while driving, which is very smart.
So they stop at a love motel. Harry talks about a past love with Frida Felcher. And Lloyd's all like, oh, I know, like knows her and stuff. Mm-hmm. Harry says he got a John Deere letter.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
It is.
It's so funny. He thinks she was seeing another guy. And we'll learn that other guy is Lloyd.
What's he say? She wrote me this Dear John letter. John Deere letter.
John Deere letter, yeah.
About how I never paid attention to her. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah.
It's like, you're reading the letter. How are you not paying attention?
It's like, bro, come on. You got to get it together. We see the thugs are at the hotel. We see there's the guy talking we see the big guy that's in there, the
The
thug.
gas man.
Yeah, he's talking to Nick. We have a guy complaining outside of the thing about him being on the phone so long.
Payphone.
Payphone.
Payphone, for anybody who doesn't know what a payphone is.
Gen Zers or whatever. They're
Yeah.
just
It's a glass box you could get into
see,
and call
That-
anyone.
back in our day, we used to have to drive to the telephone.
Yeah.
Man, I just felt like that was funnier, and I just didn't get the laugh I was looking for there.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. He punched the guy through the glass, and it's okay. Just like my heart is punched right now from the lack of laughing. So, according to the map, we've only moved 4 inches, is what Harry says.
Yes.
And so they're just kind of goofing. Lloyd's like, I bet you $40 I can get you gambling by the end of the day. And Harry takes on the bet.
No way.
So,
I don't know how I'm going to get you, but I'm going to get you.
I'm going to get you. I don't know how. The thugs are pretending to be broke down, and the two pick up the gas man. And they're driving the gas man crazy. They're playing tag in the car. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Yeah.
So funny. That's really good. And then, so this next part was actually a thing that Jim Carrey made up on the spot. It's like, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? I want you to do it. Go. 3, 2,
God.
1. Do it. Go. That's going to be real fun to edit.
Yeah.
That's going to be real fun to edit.
You should just take it right out.
That's what I'm going to do. No, I'm leaving it in.
No, don't.
Definitely.
Definitely don't leave that
I'm going to
in.
actually, leave it in and triple it. Make it louder. Okay, she's taking out another briefcase. She pulls out a pen and paper, throws it on the ground. Oh, now she's pulling out a knife. She has a ghost face mask on. And now, she's stabbing me. I'm slowly dying. This is a bit not funny.
No.
No, okay.
Cut.
So, and like he's getting so upset, the gas man is. He's saying, like, why don't we just listen to the radio? And he said, why listen to the radio? Why we could just sing? And then they start singing Mockingbird. Mock.
Yeah.
Ing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't say bird.
Yeah, I know. And then they pick up some Spanish hitchhikers, and now they're all singing together.
See.
Oh, yeah. Mock. See. So good. And they stop at another restaurant, and it's like a restaurant that only serves hot food, apparently, according to what the restaurant looked. The two eat hot peppers, and then you got this whole thing where they're freaking out, and they're just squirting mustard and ketchup on in their mouths.
Yeah,
and,
because wasn't it like a ghost pepper or something?
yeah, some like
It's
crazy
really
pepper.
hot.
And then Lloyd just takes two of them, throws them down, and just squirts them as high in the air as possible, and just gets it all over them.
It's getting everywhere.
I think that was probably the biggest laugh from us, I feel like, right? On this time of watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
They decide to prank the thugs and put peppers on his burger. But first, the thug learns that they don't even know Mary and have no clue about anything inside the briefcase.
They're just being good Samaritans.
He's laughing and just saying, like, what is this? Like, talk about being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Immediately bites into his burger.
His burger that they have just now
what
put
he
peppers
doesn't
all
know-
over.
What he doesn't know is he's in the wrong place at the wrong time because he's near these guys.
Right.
And the peppers are hurting his ulcer because that's why he has gas and has to take pills all the time. And asks for his pills, but we learned a little earlier when talking on a phone to Nick that he was going to put rat poison in their food. And so they're thinking that the rat poison is the pills that he's asking for. And so they give him those pills and they didn't know, and he dies, and they just kind of bail.
Yeah. They just leave. No
That's
big
it.
deal.
And then we get that we see the cops are investigating the death of the thug. It's like, did you get the leader asks, did you get a make on the vehicle? And the guy's like, yeah, he was driving an 84 sheepdog.
Hmm.
That's such a good joke. That's a very good joke. I thought that
A
was
very obvious.
a very obvious and good joke.
You couldn't
You couldn't
miss that. car.
unjoke it. Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop. So they stop to get gas. Harry meets a girl, and this is where he's pumping the gas. He's like,
Mhm.
skis, huh? They yours? She's
Both
like,
of them?
yeah, both of them. And then we're seeing like Harry spilling gas all over himself, and we see Lloyd in the bathroom. He reads on the wall that at March 25th, exactly at 2:15, somebody will show up to have sex, and it turns out that it's Seabass, and it's the grossest scene of the movie.
Yeah.
So unnecessary and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
In the 90s would have been hilarious, but I just don't think it really works anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, right? Pretty weird.
Hmm.
But Lloyd catches himself on fire and runs into the bathroom to extinguish the flames and knocks Seabass out. Also, before that, we see that he's talking to the girl and he's kind of hitting it off and getting like her number.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's on fire and trying to play it cool, he starts yelling at her.
Yes.
Very funny. And we see that the cops have a roadblock going into Aspen. Lloyd takes over driving duties. And they stop at another gas station. And this is where we get our favorite line from the movie. Big gulps, huh? Well, see you later.
And
Very
apparently that was completely improv.
completely improvised. Yeah. It's so good, though. We see Harry's asleep, and Lloyd, it's like some people just aren't cut out for the road.
Mm-mm.
And he takes a wrong turn heading to Nebraska. When it cuts to Harry being woken up, they're confused why the Rocky Mountains aren't that rocky.
Right.
And then we're cutting to Harry being pissed off, just sitting out in the middle of a cornfield with his butt crack like halfway
Just
out.
Just hanging out for
Just
the whole
hanging
world
out.
to see.
It's such a true thing, too, because so many people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just like, I'm just sitting down and my butt cracks out. And so they went a sixth of the trip in the wrong direction. And we realized they don't have any money to get to Aspen. Harry bails and decides he's going to walk home. And it's real sad. Wah, wah, wah.
Cue the crash test dummies.
Yes. And we're immediately cutting to Lloyd on a tiny motorcycle. Says he sold the van for it. He's like acting all cool. Yeah, it gets 70 miles to a gallon on this hog. And Harry's looking upset, and he goes, "You know, Lloyd, just when I think you can't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself."
Yes.
And we see they're making their way to Aspen.
But can we stop for a second?
Yes.
There's no way that these two grown men
Can drive like 1,000 miles to Aspen on this thing.
can even fit on this thing and it will actually move. There's
Yeah,
no way.
there's no way. No.
Like it is not. They're gonna get 10 miles in a day tops.
Well, I don't know, because where we live, we have like that guy with the tiny little motorcycle that you can buy from Home Depot. It's like really small.
Yeah.
You see him driving around. I don't know. It can support him. It might be able to. Though he's kind of skinny. He's more of a Lloyd. I don't know what happens if
It's
you put a
not
Harry on
fitting
it.
two guys, and especially not in an area where you're in the mountains.
Going up a hill on ice. Yeah, definitely wouldn't work.
It's not happening.
But it's
It's still funny though.
It's a very good joke.
It's a funny thing.
And while they're on their way to Aspen, Harry has to pee. Lloyd tells him to just go.
Just go.
Like, oh, that's warm. And we see they made it to Aspen. And when they get off the bike, Harry is stuck to Lloyd because of the pee. And it's so good. They're just walking down the street. What is it? Harry's like, whew, look at the butt on that one. And then Lloyd, yeah, he must work out. Very funny. That used to be one of my favorite things ever as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Harry learns that Lloyd doesn't know where she lives or her last name.
Nope.
So what the heck are they doing in Aspen, right?
They're going to look her up. Her last name must be on the briefcase.
Is what? Samsonite? Samson?
Slippy,
Slippy?
Slappy.
Slappy? We see that they're staying in a park. Harry is freezing. His hands are about to fall off. Lloyd says he's going to give him his extra pair of gloves. Harry's like, you have an extra pair of gloves? Like, yeah, it's Colorado.
Yeah.
Obviously. My hands are starting to sweat.
Yeah.
They're starting to fight. The briefcase gets thrown and they realize it's a briefcase full of money.
Cha-ching.
Which is obviously what it would have been.
Right.
They said that they're going to borrow monies, but they're going to, for everything that they buy, they're going to
put in an IOU.
You put in IOU, and that's just as good as money right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just as good.
And they're going to pay them back every red cent.
And they're only going to use a little bit.
Yeah, just enough to get them by.
cut to them buying an expensive room. They show up at this place in an expensive car. They have nothing but a bunch of bags full of stuff.
Yeah, they buy a Lamborghini. They get the penthouse suite at the fanciest hotel.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, totally smart.
Totally
thinking.
smart. And then later he has the IOU, and it's $250,000 for the car. It's
Yeah.
so crazy. We're cutting to them. They're crying for a commercial and using money as the tissues.
Mhm.
It's just because I was like, what are they watching? And then it is at the end,
It's just a
it's just a commercial. But hey, commercials these days, they get real.
They get real.
They get kind of way too real. They are looking at a newspaper and they find Mary. We see that Lloyd can't read at all.
Nope.
And now they know where she's at. So they decide to go shop for tux, get haircuts, get their nails done.
Because her family is hosting a charity ball.
Yeah, for a bunch of owls.
Yeah.
Lloyd pretends to get cut shaving and scares the old man half to death. They go to get, and then while that's happening, Harry's getting a massage by a masseuse. They switch roles and he changes into her outfit
Mm-hmm.
and starts massaging her instead.
Yep.
Whenever they're cutting Lloyd's nails, it's essentially giant claws of a monster or something on the bottom. They're using, what is it,
A sander.
a sand saw thing?
Yeah.
I'm a man. I know what it is.
I don't.
Don't look at me. And then they're showing up for the owl events. Nick tells them, hey guys, you're gonna have to get out of here. This is $250 a plate. And he's like, we'll take 4.
Yeah.
But while they're walking in, we see them hitting each other with canes.
Mhm.
And Harry just whacks them really hard inside on the back of the leg. And so now Nick knows it's them because the lady thug said it's them.
Mhm.
We see the endangered owls. They're obviously fake-looking owls. They're the Icelandic snow owls. We see Lloyd is super nervous. He says that he has that special feeling ever since he met her. I would do anything to bone her.
Yeah.
He's-
Every guy's familiar with that one.
He's dumb, but he's still just a guy.
He's just a guy.
He wants Harry to go talk to him because he's getting nervous, and he's like, "Hey, go tell her
Yeah,
tell her I'm good looking and I have a rapist wit."
Yeah. What do you even mean?
A therapist wit, I guess.
I guess.
That's the only thing I can think of. And so Harry goes up to her while she's looking at the owls and says, "Nice set of hooters you got there."
Mhm.
It's what? It's your owls.
He immediately wins her over with that one.
Yeah, that's a good joke. It's a hell of a joke. He makes small talk. He tells her about that he has takes care of dogs, and she's like, "Any special breeding?" "No, just doggy style."
She's just like, what?
What's the other good? It's do any weird mixes?
Mhm.
And then he tells us oh well, we mixed
We successfully bred a Shih Tzu and a Bulldog. It's called a bullshit.
It's wow, how'd you do that? Yeah, it's called a bullshit. So he tries to introduce Lloyd, but he keeps failing. Mary's stepmother convinces him to hang out with Mary for the day because they're wanting her to get out and do something and act normal. And also seems like she might have a little crush on him.
I
the
think she
stepmother.
does.
Yeah.
I think she does.
I mean, well, when they're getting all dressed up and getting ready to go out and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, when they had their hair done, I was like, they're kind
Before
of
they just
shook it all off.
disheveled everything.
I was like, wow, they're kind of actually handsome.
Yeah.
So he lies to Lloyd and tells him he got a date for him tomorrow. He opens a champagne bottle, but the bottle kills one of the birds.
Yep.
He's like, ugh, sheesh, tough room.
Yeah.
What happened in here?
What does he say? Somebody really killed the mood.
Oh, yeah, somebody really killed the mood in here.
Yeah.
You dummies. So Nick and Lady Thug talk about how they killed the bird and they think that they're professional assassins. And Lady Thug's like, how do you even kill a bird with a cork?
Yeah.
Harry meets up with Mary, dressed real stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the Olympics.
Yep.
Lloyd goes to meet her at the bar that Harry said she would be at. He's dressed as a cowboy.
Yeah, overly Aztec kind of cowboy.
Yeah. Very Native American type of, or fake Native American,
Yeah,
the thought of whatever. I'm cutting that out.
Yeah.
So Harry and Mary, they're going up to the ski. Harry licks the frost off of a ski lift and gets his tongue stuck on the lift.
For like 4 hours,
And he
it
can't
seems
get
like.
it off. So did you watch this or Christmas
Christmas Story?
Christmas Story first?
This.
Which one's funnier? Which one's better? Which one's the better use of it?
This.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. It's way better. It's way funnier.
It's just, I think what's so funny to me is that he just stays there and people are getting on and off and they're just like,
They're just like,
and he's just like, hey, no big deal.
Well, he's like, hey, to like one of the.
Wouldn't have any water, would you? And she's clearly gotten off. She knows he's still there. Like, why aren't you helping him?
I'm sure he's just like, oh, no, don't worry. Nothing's wrong. I do this all the time.
Yeah, but
I'm assuming.
I don't know.
Lloyd's still waiting for Mary. He's like, what time do you got? Oh, it's 1:00. Oh, that's what I got. I was just thinking maybe it was fast.
Yeah.
The girl from the gas station shows up. He's being super rude to her, and she's like telling her whole life story about her ex-boyfriend. Mary notices Harry is still stuck on the ski lift, and then she pulls his tongue off. And it's a very funny scene where the tongue gets really long. It's pretty great. There's some kids watching them, and it's hilarious. The two, they build a snowman. He puts the carrot and button eyes down where his penis would have been.
Yeah.
They have a snowball fight, and Harry just takes it way too far.
Yeah, he just like impales her in the nose.
My favorite part about the whole scene is whenever he's at the end, he's like, come on, let's go, let's fight. And then he's like, what am I doing?
Yeah, she just immediately starts laughing because she thinks he's just being silly, but he's so like
even though he was
into it.
Straight up gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Lloyd finds out where she lives, but sees that Harry and Mary are hanging out. But before that, because Lloyd is back at the bar, and the bartender tells Lloyd where she lives, and then as he's on the way out, Lloyd sees a newspaper up saying that we landed on the moon, but it's from obviously back in the day, and he's like, "We landed on the moon!"
Yeah, he's so excited.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is great.
And we learn Mary and Harry are talking in the Lamborghini or whatever, and they make plans to have another date night. So Harry and Lloyd are back at the hotel, and they're Harry's just like, "Oh, I can't believe she didn't show up. I cannot believe that." Lloyd's obviously seeing right through it, and Harry's like, "You know what? I bet she meant 10 p.m.
Yeah, who meets at a bar at 10 a.m.?
Exactly. Lloyd is obviously angry and gives Harry a turbo X-Lax.
Yes.
Classic.
Did him dirty.
And X-Lax hits Harry, and he uses her bathroom and blows it up, but the toilet doesn't work. Does that ever happen to you?
No.
No? Has happened to me. Not at like a girlfriend's house or anything, but we were going to like the party at her friend's house, and we were all getting ready we were watching Quarantine, that movie. Of course, as it's about to get to the very end, the scarier part of the movie, my tummy a rumbling.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. She's like, you can't leave. This is way too scary. And I'm like, I will be back soon. I was in there like 10 minutes, and I was like,
everyone knows I just shit.
well, no one noticed I walked out except her, and I was like, I sprayed that bathroom so much, and I just really hope no one used it afterwards, and I'm sure they did.
They definitely did.
Yeah, and it was obvious that I had to go poop. It was embarrassing, and I think about it often.
But the toilet wasn't broken.
Toilet wasn't broken, no.
Okay.
I would have walked home. I would have walked out and walked home. I wouldn't even care. I was probably like 30 minutes from home, and it would have been a 3-hour walk, but I would have ran home.
Well, that relationship's over.
It's
I'm
like
never talking to her again.
At least it wasn't our house, though. It was a friend's house, but I just wouldn't have been able to live it down. So we see, so after he's blowing up the toilet, we see Mary. She's watching a current affair show or whatever, and shows the blind boy with a parrot. She's like, who would do that?
Yeah.
Lloyd shows up at the house. She barely remembers him. He tells her about the briefcase. She agrees to go with him to get it, and tells Harry that she has to go. and they're showing up at the hotel. He's like racing to the top, and he's like trips her and everything, and she falls
like
over.
pulls her leg down.
Yeah, it's so good. She can't believe he drove so far for her, and then she's like in the bathroom, and there's this fake out of him asking her out,
Mm-hmm.
and then he actually goes to ask her out, and it's like he says, "I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy,"
Yeah.
and he tries to say it again. It's like, no, that's not what I meant. And then he kind of just tells her how much he likes her, and
And he says, "What are the chances?"
what are the chances that you'd see me? It's like 1 in a million.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
And it's like, I like you a lot.
I like
It's also
her a
during
lot.
this. Nick shows up randomly. Lloyd finds out she has a husband. And then Nick's pointing a gun at him. We see Harry's about to walk up to the room, but the gas station lady's there. Nick finds out that they spent all the money, and he tells him that he's a dead man to
Mhm.
Lloyd. Harry shows up. Lloyd and Mary are tied up onto the bed. Laurie and Harry, they have their little fight. They're arguing over Frida from the past. And they talk about breaking up as friends. And then we go, and it's like, Nick's like, all right, who wants to die? And it's like, oh, kill him.
Yeah.
Talking to Harry. And so Nick shoots Harry 3 times, and it appears that Harry is dead. Nick goes to kill Lloyd, but Harry wakes up and shoots at Nick, but it's like the Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
thing
Just
all over again.
completely missed.
Completely. Harry, you're alive. And a horrible shot.
Yeah, he really is. Like he fired, 7 or 8 times
it's
and
wild.
didn't land one.
Right. And then the police show up. Gas station lady is with the FBI, apparently. And they gave him a bulletproof vest. And Lloyd's like, what if he shot you in the face? And he's like, what is it?
A risk we were
A
willing to
risk we were
take.
willing to take, yeah. They're kind of they're just walking down the road. Oh wait, no, this is after it all happened, and like there's police and everything around. Harry's like, was it worth it? Harry's like, she was definitely worth the trip. And then her husband shows up.
Mhm.
Lloyd imagines himself shooting him.
Yeah.
And then we see Lloyd and Harry, they're walking back home. A group of bikini models pull up and offer them a ride with them.
To be their oil
yeah,
boy.
So they can oil them up for competitions.
Yeah.
They say you're just in luck because there's a town down the road. Lloyd goes to catch up with them and says, actually, it's the other way. They
Yeah.
start playing tag, and that's the end.
Yeah.
And that's Dumb and Dumber. So I'm going to play a game with you real quick.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to give you a movie option, and you have to pick which one.
Okay.
All right. Dumb and Dumber versus Ace Ventura.
Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. Dumb and Dumber versus The Mask. It's a tough one.
That is really tough. I think I'm still gonna go with Dumb and Dumber.
Okay. Yeah, that's my choice. Okay, let's go. We'll change it up a little bit. Dumb and Dumber versus Best in Show.
Best in Show.
Okay. Dumb and Dumber versus Step Brothers.
Dumb and Dumber.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Dumb and
Can I confess something? I'm not really that big into Step Brothers. I don't
okay,
like
hold on.
it has its funny parts,
Mhm.
but overall I don't find it to be the funniest movie ever.
Okay, I'm pulling out a briefcase. I'm setting it on the table. I'm pulling out a pen, a sheet of paper. I'm taking her briefcase. I'm taking out her piece of paper. I'm ripping up her divorce papers. And now I'm signing a piece of paper, handing it to her, and it's me divorcing her now. Step Brothers is one of the funniest movies ever. Okay, Dumb and Dumber, The Other Guys.
The other guys.
Dumb and Dumber, This Is the End.
This is the end.
Dumb and Dumber, Super Bad.
Super bad.
Okay. I was just curious. That just popped up in my mind at the last second. We're pretty much on the same page except for the Step Brothers thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have our 2 categories to end the show. The first one is the good, the bad, the ugly, and the fine. And that's where we talk about, we pick what we think the good of the movie is. We pick what we think the bad of the movie is, which is like the part we like the most and the part that we thought could be changed or something. And the ugly is what aged the worst, and the fine is what aged the best. So I'll start.
Okay.
Since it's your first time, I'll go first so you can, think about it for a second. I think the good is Jeff Daniels. I think that's one of the best, getting him to be Harry was the best idea that they had this entire movie.
Agreed.
Obviously, Jim Carrey probably wins the movie, I'd assume. Jeff Daniels or Jim Carrey, who do you think's funniest in the movie?
So I think, again, it goes back to you've got your kind of over the top one, and then you've got your more subtle one, and they just play off of each other really well. But Jeff Daniels comes through with the slapstick and just the weirdness.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey wins the movie, though,
Okay.
I guess.
All right. So what's your good?
My good.
What's your favorite part? Just tell me your favorite part.
I don't have a favorite part. I think the whole movie is good.
Okay.
The whole movie's the good.
That works. All right. So what's the worst part of the movie? The bad?
The bad will have to just be kind of the half-assed plot line, I guess. Like with the, I guess and maybe it's me, I just don't fully understand, why she's in Rhode Island, why she goes ahead and goes to Aspen. Does she live in Aspen? Why is she in Rhode Island to begin with? Why would she fly all the way to Rhode Island, hang out for a couple of days, and then drop the suitcase?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a better way of going about this.
Yeah, you could have just had them just being friends or something.
I guess other than them just following these two guys, I feel like if the hitmen were any better, it wouldn't be any trouble.
Yeah,
but they're
right.
obviously idiots as well.
Because they can say truly the dumbest people are the people who can't get the upper hand over these two idiots. Yeah.
And I think that's what's so funny about it. It's they're the Dumb and Dumber, but here they are just until the end when they have, again, absolutely nothing, and they're walking back across country, apparently.
Yeah, they're just going to walk.
They're just walking. Nobody was like, oh, hey, thanks for helping me out. Here, let me at least buy you a Toyota Camry to get you back to your home.
Just
thanks for doing all this for me. Bye.
That was actually going to be my bad, was going to be why did these rich people not help these two
give
people
them
back?
At least something to help them out.
But then at the same time, they spent all their money.
Yeah, but all of that could be repossessed and turned back into money. So.
Yeah. So I guess also my other bad is the pacing of the movie. I think there's a lot of parts where it's just we're just doing the transitions to get them to place, and it's we could just speed that up.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just something that people thought we needed back in the day, and I think now we're all have a short attention spans, and it's just look, I understand that they got in a car and drove to one place. I don't need to see it.
Or you have the opposite of that, where every mile ever taken has been filmed and you have to sit through a 3-hour-long movie.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So what's the ugly? What's something that didn't age well for you?
You go first.
The potential rape scene. The bathroom scene?
Bathroom scene.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary. I didn't really find it funny. I thought it aged poorly. Also, get a little closer to the mic.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up with it. It's just something you don't think aged well. It could be.
Yeah, I guess so. But I guess to me, I knew it's not actually going to happen. It's just meant to be a moment.
No, I know. It's just I don't know. I was oh, I don't remember this, and it's weird.
What hasn't aged well? I think, I don't know.
Don't have anything? That's fine if you don't have anything.
It's a movie. I guess it's a product of when it came out. So if you think of it in terms of that, it's fine.
Phone books didn't age well?
Yeah.
Because were they really ever that helpful? Because I feel like when people try to go, every time in a movie when someone's like, oh, let's just look them up in the phone book, they're never there. And it's is that just how it was back in the day? You never found anybody in the phone book?
I remember using the phone book all the time.
Yeah.
I was at home by myself a lot, though. So it's if I wanted to order a pizza.
That's true. Ordering it for businesses, that was really good.
And then.
But everybody that I knew never had, they're always oh, I went unlisted. And I was well, then how do people contact you?
Yeah.
It's they don't. I was oh.
I don't know. I guess I never encountered anybody that was unlisted. So if a friend gave me their phone number, obviously their house phone number, and I couldn't actually make out what they wrote, I would just, oh, their last name is this. This is closest to it. Boom. I've got your number.
Got your number.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fine, what aged the best? Anything that you think aged the best?
See, I knew I was going to have to think about these more. I can't, nothing's popping
I think
into
it's the
my
buddy
head.
comedy. Like, right? That's always good. I mean, you still have Step Brothers, The Other Guys, This Is the End, Pineapple Express. It's always funny.
Yeah.
Just get two funny people to be funny together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what aged the best.
Okay.
You
I'll
agree?
copy you. I'm
Cool.
not charismatic. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, we didn't have a lot of time to do this, so it's okay. So we're going to go to our last category, the double feature. What's a movie that you'd recommend along with this one? I can go first, what do you think? And I'm picking The Other Guys. I think it's one of the funnier movies where it's just two people hanging out, improving, and Mark Wahlberg is hilarious in it. And it's just kind of a movie I've been thinking about a lot here recently. So that's what I think you should also watch. And it's also really silly and dumb too.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I decided Zoolander because
Great
it's
one.
about a main character who's also not very smart. And
Very dumb.
he turns out to have a buddy at the end who is also not very smart.
Should we watch Zoolander?
Yeah.
We should watch Zoolander and or The Other Guys. Cool. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening to us this week. Next week, we are doing the film Saw because it's close enough to October that it's time to do nothing but horror movies. So I'm sorry if you don't like horror movies, but we're starting out. It's going to be releasing right when the newest one comes out. So you can watch along with us before you go to see the newest Saw 10. They have 10 of those.
That's insane.
There's 10 chapters in the book of Saws. It's ridiculous. We've watched up to 7 of them. And they don't make sense.
They're terrible.
It's wild how complicated they try to be. To just being like, well, we just want to trap 2 people. We just want to trap some people and make them
Teach them a lesson.
teach them a lesson. And you want to see some of the grossest stuff. It's all the movies have to be.
Yeah.
But why are they so complicated?
I don't know.
Cannot wait to get into that. And we may even have a special guest. Maybe a 3-personer there. Hopefully that works out. Really cool way of saying all this. So please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a like and a follow on everywhere that you listen to us. We're on just about everything except Amazon Music because they suck. Just go to our link tree. It's linktree.com/We Recommend Podcasts. It's the easiest way to get all our social medias and if you want to listen to us on something else. Thank you, Joey Prosser, for the intro and outro. You can follow him on X at Mr. Joey Prosser. Okay, perfect. So this has been We Recommend. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Natalie.
See you next week. Bye.